Hello, I'm Mark Wilson, and this is my 1971 Mach 1.
By 1971, the supercar market was imploding. Just as the best muscle cars were starting to come out in 1970, the world fell apart. The insurance industry was cracking down and sales were starting to plummet. GM threw in the towel on high compression after 1970. Thankfully, Ford and Chrysler kept the high compression, high performance engines going one more year. This is when some of the best cars were coming out, and among those is the 1971 429 Cobra Jet Mach 1. It was a real powerhouse in the Mustang. Unfortunately, it only lasted 1 year in that body. Welcome back to Muscle Car Campy. Before we get started, don't forget, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so every time a new video goes live, you get a notification. There's a lot more to this 71 Mustang 429 Cobra Jet Ram Air car than meets the eye. Yes, it's resplendent in grabber green. Yes, it has the white comfort weave interior. But what's really unusual about it, you'll see certain things on it that don't make any sense. Like this side marker reflector. Out back, there's a yellow reflector, not red. Why? Originally, this car was ordered with 25 options and sold new in Okinawa, Japan. Absolutely mind-boggling. It's got air conditioning, it's got automatic, it's got AM 8-track. But there's so much more to get into. Stay tuned. The 429 Cobra Jet was introduced in Ford's mid-sized muscle cars in 1970. The problem was it simply wouldn't fit in the Mustang that year. The engine was bigger, wider, taller than the 428 Cobra Jet. That's one of the reasons the 71 Mustang got bigger, although it wasn't the only reason. Let's face it, all cars were getting bigger in 1970, 71, 72. It was part of the whole buying experience. The whole reason that the 429 and 460 engine family came to exist is because Ford thought at the time that pretty soon their passenger cars were going to weigh over 5,000 pounds and their light-duty trucks were going to weigh over 6,000 pounds. The 385 series family was designed to go up to well in excess of 500 cubic inches. The cannon valve heads breathe beautifully, made for a great performance engine, and certainly a great street engine for those big Luxo barges that Ford and Mercury and Lincoln were building at the time. A reflection of its times, the Mustang sold just under 150,000 units in 71, which was a recession year and a terrible year for pony cars in particular. Barracuda, Challenger, and Javelin sales were absolutely in the toilet, and only a hair over 53,000 Firebirds were sold. Production-wise, only the Camaro came close with 107,496 cars sold. Marks is one of 1,512 with the Ram Air setup.
My name is Mark Wilson, and I'm the North American Operations and Planning Manager for Vehicle Personalization. As Jim said earlier, this 71 Mach 1 is equipped with both 25 factory options as well as a number of accents that were required for homologation for Japan. Let's take a look at them. So first of all, the most obvious one that everybody talks about are the side markers on the front fenders. Always hear a lot about this. As Jim said, they're from a Datsun Skyline GT, one of the best muscle cars from Japan at the time. We have Magnum 500s, which are from the factory. You'll notice it's got a front spoiler on it that didn't come from the factory like that. I believe that was dealer installed. It's got the Ram Air hood. Then moving on to the side here, one of the most unusual options that you'll find on a Japanese car are the side mirrors, where they actually took the time to shave down the pointed front of them and made it flat, I believe for pedestrian impact. Moving on to the interior, it's got the CW interior, white interior, that has the comfort weave seat with the silver insert. We'll start with the doors, where you can see we've got power windows, which were a first in 1971 on the Mustang. Then we've got rear defrost, we've got the parking brake lamp, as well as the belt minder and headlamps. Have a rim below steering wheel, tilt column, the tach gauge cluster with trip odometer. Moving on to the center stack, we've got the optional gauges, the 8-track player, center console automatic transmission with the upgraded shift knob on it. This car also features the fold down rear seat, which is a great option to turn it into a 2-seat fastback, and trunk pass-through. And then, as we said, on the rear window, we've got the defroster, and then you can see through the back window to the rear spoiler. So in the interior, one of the interesting features for the export cars was that they had the speedometer in kilometers. And in 1971, it went up to 200 kilometers an hour. And in 1972 and 73, it went up to 220. Okay, yeah, there we go. So far, I don't know how many total 71 Mustangs equipped with 420 and Cobra Jets were sold in Japan, but I have found 14 of them. And I can tell you that each one of them is fully optioned, but the color did change from vehicle to vehicle. I believe, though, there were enough of them made for the Japan market that it's actually easier in Japan to find a 429 Cobra Jet equipped 71 Mach 1 than it is to find a base Mach 1, which is kind of crazy when you think about how rare these cars really are.
Although it was somewhat controversial, this long sweeping backlight, I thought it looked amazing, you know, and you actually get used to it when you drive it. Mark's car has his trims out for anodizing. Say that 10 times fast. One unusual feature, because the car was for the Japanese market, the antenna is in the left rear fender rather than the right front fender. Very unusual. Of course, it does have the spoiler as an option. Notice the unusual red reflector lights. That again was something that was required by the Japanese market. So Mark, this is probably one of the more unusual cars we've had on Muscle Car Campy. How long have you had it, and where in the world did you find it?
So I've had the car since 2017, came out of California originally, and before that I'm not exactly sure how long it was in California, but I do know that it was in Japan as late as 1985.
Wow. You know, and that was the era when the Japanese were buying up all the American muscle cars and shipping them back to Japan. This is kind of the one that got away.
Yep, it's the reverse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Now, Mark, one other thing I know about you, besides that you bleed Ford blue, why you just don't like 71 Cobra Jet Mach 1s.
Nope.
You really love the Boss 351 as well.
I do. I really do. One day I'll have one. Like to have blue with white interior. The grabber blue with white interior. That's the color for me. I'm really attracted to the grabber colors.
They are very cool. What is the attraction with the 71s that you really love? And you have other Mustangs too. You have a lot of Mustangs.
Yep.
What's the attraction to the 71?
So it goes back to when I was 15 years old, and actually before that, it goes back to when I was probably 12, 13 years old, and across the street from my bus stop, there was a 71, 72 Mustang that every morning would start up, had side pipes on it, and was kind of ratty and beat up. And I'm sure we all had one of those cars in the neighborhood, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And it would start to life, and the guy would drive off, and I just fell in love with that car. I absolutely loved it. So one day I have to have it. So I had paper out, like a lot of people did in the 80s, and saved up my money. And I'd always wanted to get a 429 Cobra Jet Mustang. Couldn't find one. Lived in Minnesota, so it was actually hard to find anything decent in Minnesota. I did find a 72 convertible, and as a 15-year-old, once you drop that top, you know you gotta buy it, right?
Sure.
And 302 automatic, thought it was the coolest car in the whole world. And from there, I just bought Mustang after Mustang after Mustang, and I think I've owned at least 40 Mustangs, and I pretty much like every generation of Mustang. Hung out with people. One of my friends, his dad had actually had two Boss 429s. One that was completely stock, and the other one that was completely modified. And raced the modified one and brought the stock one to the shows on Sunday. And we'd hang out there for a few hours, and then we'd go off and do street racing in a couple places.
Now, this year, you celebrated your 30th anniversary with Ford Motor Company.
Yep.
And like I said, I know you've got a 70 Cobra Jet car.
Yep.
You've got some Cobra R's too, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I've got 193 and 295 Cobra R's.
Wow.
Yep.
Just wow.
Yeah.
And you also have one of my favorites that we'll be featuring someday on Muscle Car Campy. A 68.5 Cobra Jet Mustang. It's a very light yellow with a black vinyl top.
Yep.
I am in love with that car. I can't wait to see it finished so we can point our cameras at it.
Absolutely. And what's great about that car is it was street race from day one, and finally parked in 77 with a blown motor. And the owner collected NOS parts from 1977 to 2012 and restored it at that time, and then just got bored and sold it. And what's great is he rebuilt it to day 2 condition. So it's got all the street racing parts on it. The GT badges are gone from it. The side stripe is gone. It's got a manual valve body on the automatic transmission, Blue Thunder intake. It's an awesome car. It really is. 430 gears. Thing's a monster. It really is. It's a great car.
I can imagine. Now, you know, you'd see it without the C stripe, without the GT badge. It's gonna look like a 6-pack.
Oh,
it surely won't sound like one.
No, it looks like your grandma's car though when you see it, because it's just
awesome.
this cute yellow color and, you know, a black vinyl roof. It doesn't get any better than that. And the other cool thing he did on that car was he took the original GT wheels, which were 14, took out the center of them and welded them to 15-inch outers so he could put slicks on them. So it has the original looking center caps with the GT hubcaps on them, but they're 15-inch wheels, so you can put drag slicks on them.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool car.
Now, so 68, 70, 71. You want a Boss 351.
Yep.
Is there something else in your future, do you think? You know?
I think, yeah, it's funny. I'd love to get a 2000 Cobra R just to complete the trio, right? But right now the prices are a little bit out of my price range. I can't justify it at that price.
I'll tell you, I've put a lot of miles on 2000
Me
Cobra
too.
Rs.
I love them. They're my
yeah,
favorite SN95, right?
Oh, it's just, I love that engine, the way it revs, the way it feels. I mean, just absolutely outstanding.
Yep.
But, you know, you being in your position at Ford, you've been around the 24 Mustang since before it was a thing.
Yep, absolutely.
And is there anything you could tell us about what Ford Performance Parts is doing for that car?
I can tell you that our customers won't be disappointed. That's for sure. I really wish I could say something, but I can say, just based on the smile on my face, we've got some great things planned, and the muscle car is alive and well at Ford Motor Company for sure.
And, you know, you've spent years at Ford. You've seen, really, in the time you've been there now, the Fox went to the Fox 4/SN95, the S197, the S550, now S650. I mean, to have a front row seat for that has got to be like watching movies made.
You know what? I'll tell you what. As a Mustang enthusiast who works for Ford because he's a Mustang enthusiast, it's like a dream come true, right? I mean, not every day is a wonderful day, right? But I definitely had more good days than bad days. But if you think about where we are today with a 500 horsepower, normally aspirated GT, and you go back to 1993 when the Cobra came out and it was 235 and we were all drooling. You guys had a fantastic article where it raced against the Z28 and beat it.
Yeah.
Or actually it was SS. And
that was Z28.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was 93 Z28.
And it beat it, right?
Yeah.
And you know, no one said it could be done. Everyone thought that the Camaro was going to be the top dog, but you guys proved them wrong.
Power to weight, and we know that 235 horse rating was a little bit on the shy side.
Maybe just a little bit.
A little bit.
Yep.
But you know.
But absolutely, I mean, it's been a fantastic ride. I mean, you know, you look at the Cobra R's, the 93, 95, 2000, the Terminator, you know, the Bullets, Shelby's. It's just crazy when you think about all the cars. And then the road race cars I worked on, you know, the Boss 302R, the Boss 302S, the Cobra Jet. It's just absolutely crazy, right? For someone like me to think, to have thought that I would be able to do all this in my career and get paid to do it, it's just unbelievable.
All right, everybody, this is Muscle Car Campy saying that's a wrap. We love this car. Be sure to share this video link with your car loving buddies. Lots more videos coming your way. You won't want to miss any of them.